In fiscal year 2024, Walmart reported revenues of $648.1 billion. To put that in perspective, that figure is more than the entire gross domestic product of Sweden for the same year, which stood at around $604.7 billion. That makes Walmart one of the largest economic entities on the planet, an empire built on scale and efficiency. But Walmart didn't just get big, it fundamentally rewrote the rules of American capitalism. It changed how businesses compete, how products are manufactured, and even how you shop for groceries and household goods. For decades, the story of American enterprise was one of local competition and diverse supply chains. Then came Walmart, a retail force that steamrolled over established norms, leaving behind a radically different economic landscape. I dug through decades of business strategies, legal battles, and economic data so you don't have to uncover how Walmart achieved this unprecedented dominance. The answer isn't just low prices. It's a three-pronged assault on traditional business models, an obsession with supply chain mastery, a ruthless approach to vendor relationships, and a profound impact on the American labor market. Sam Walton's vision, when he opened his first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas in 1962, was deceptively simple: sell for less to sell more. This wasn't a new idea, but Walton took it to an extreme no one had truly imagined. He built his business in less populated areas, avoiding direct competition with established city retailers, and focused relentlessly on volume. This initial strategy, often ridiculed by bigger competitors, laid the groundwork for a company that would one day become a titan. Growing from just 18 stores with $9 million in annual sales in 1967 to nearly 2,000 stores by the time of his death in 1992, with $50 billion in sales. His philosophy was more than a slogan. It was a deeply ingrained cultural mandate: control your expenses better than anyone else, because that's where true competitive advantage lies. This relentless focus on cost control led to the second seismic shift, Walmart's supply chain revolution. While competitors were still relying on traditional warehousing and slow distribution networks, Walmart was building a logistical marvel. As early as 1975, Walmart was an early adopter of advanced technology for inventory management, utilizing computer systems to track products. They pioneered barcode scanning and sophisticated point-of-sale data analysis, even employing satellite systems to connect their vast and growing network of stores and distribution centers. At the heart of this innovation was cross-docking, a system where goods arrived at a distribution center and were immediately transferred to outbound trucks, often within hours, without ever sitting in storage. This dramatically reduced storage costs, labor, and transportation time, allowing Walmart to move products faster and cheaper than anyone else. It was a brilliant, brutal mechanism, turning distribution from a cost center into a strategic weapon. But efficiency alone wasn't enough. Walmart wielded its growing size to squeeze the life out of its suppliers, implementing a ruthless approach to vendor relationships that became legendary. The company dictated terms, demanding lower prices, specific packaging, and even compelling suppliers to manage their own inventory at Walmart's distribution centers through proprietary systems like Retail Link. This effectively offloaded inventory risks and costs from Walmart onto its vendors. The message was clear: if you wanted access to Walmart's millions of customers, you played by their rules. One infamous example was Rubbermaid. In the mid-1990s, when rising resin prices increased Rubbermaid's production costs, the company, then widely recognized as America's most admired, sought a price increase from Walmart. Walmart, sticking to its everyday low prices mantra, flatly refused. When Rubbermaid tried to stand firm, believing its brand was indispensable, Walmart responded with brutal efficiency. It systematically removed Rubbermaid products from prime shelf locations, aggressively sourced cheaper, often inferior, plastic goods from overseas manufacturers, and eventually, Rubbermaid saw its earnings plunge by 30% in 1995. The once dominant manufacturer was acquired by Newell Company in 1998, a stark warning to any supplier daring to challenge the retail giant. The consequence of this scale and ruthlessness was the Walmart effect, a phenomenon that devastated Main Street businesses across America. When a new Walmart store opened, it often triggered a rapid, often fatal decline in local retail. A 2008 study in the Journal of Urban Economics found that within 4 miles of the new Chicago Walmart, 25% of small businesses closed. An Iowa State University study from 2007, examining rural Iowa towns over a decade, revealed that towns without a Walmart saw a 34% decline in retail trade over 10 years. For towns that did host a Walmart, any initial boost in sales often proved fleeting, with overall retail sales falling 4% below pre-Walmart levels after a decade as competition intensified. This wasn't just business. It was an economic earthquake, leaving behind shuttered shops, lost local jobs, and a homogenization of American commerce. For consumers, however, this corporate dominance brought a different reality: the Great Price Reset. Walmart's relentless cost-cutting, supply chain innovations, and supplier pressure translated directly into lower prices on a vast array of goods. Studies have shown that Walmart's prices are often 10% to 25% lower than those of competitors on average. This benefited millions of American households, particularly low-income families who saw their dollars stretch further on essentials like groceries. The expectation of everyday low prices became ingrained, forcing other retailers to slash their own margins to compete, driving down prices across the entire market. It created a world where consumers expected more for less, often without realizing the invisible costs that made those savings possible. The pursuit of these low prices also had a profound, often negative, impact on the American labor market. Walmart has a long and aggressive history of resisting unionization, dating back to founder Sam Walton in the 1970s. Efforts by unions to organize meat cutters in Jacksonville, Texas, in 2000 were met with Walmart's swift decision to eliminate in-house meat cutting across all its stores, effectively dissolving the union's foothold. This anti-union stance, combined with historically low wages and limited benefits, has had a chilling effect on overall retail wages: 9%, 5%. This research estimated that nationally, the total earnings of retail workers in 2000 were reduced by $4.5 billion due to Walmart's presence. For years, critics argued that Walmart's practices effectively subsidized its labor costs with taxpayer money, as many employees relied on public assistance. A 2014 report citing a study estimated that Walmart's low-wage workers cost U.S. taxpayers $6.2 billion annually in public assistance. More recently, a March 2026 report found that in Nevada, nearly a quarter of Walmart employees were on Medicaid in 2024. While Walmart has increased its minimum wage to $14 an hour as of 2023 and expanded benefits, the shadow of its past practices and the systemic impact on the American worker lingers. This relentless drive for cost-cutting also fundamentally reshaped global manufacturing and America's industrial base. By demanding ever cheaper goods from its suppliers, Walmart effectively incentivized companies to move production overseas, particularly to China, where labor costs were significantly lower. For years, Walmart has been one of the single largest importers into the United States. In 2013, Chinese imports entering through Walmart were estimated at $49.1 billion. A 2015 Economic Policy Institute study concluded that Walmart's trade deficit with China alone displaced over 400,000 U.S. jobs between 2001 and 2013, with manufacturing jobs bearing the brunt of these losses. While Walmart has, in recent years, pledged to increase its sourcing of American-made goods, committing an additional $350 billion between 2020 and 2031, its historical role in the offshoring of manufacturing irrevocably changed the landscape of American industry. So, what does Walmart represent for American capitalism? Is it the pinnacle of free market efficiency, delivering unprecedented savings to consumers, or a new, more dominant form of corporate power? The truth is, it's both. Walmart perfected a model of ruthless efficiency, squeezing every penny out of its supply chain and suppliers, and keeping labor costs lean. In doing so, it undeniably delivered lower prices to millions of Americans. But this came at a profound cost: the decimation of local businesses, a downward pressure on wages across an entire sector, and the acceleration of manufacturing jobs leaving the country. Walmart didn't just compete within American capitalism. It fundamentally rewrote its operating system, consolidating power and reshaping the economic lives of millions. The sheer scale of Walmart's influence and the quiet price paid for its everyday low prices remains one of the most significant and often overlooked stories of modern American commerce. Beyond its supply chain and vendor tactics, Walmart also mastered a less visible but equally potent mechanism: its real estate strategy. Instead of merely opening stores, Walmart often became the primary catalyst for entirely new commercial developments, fundamentally altering land use and urban planning in hundreds of American towns. By acquiring vast tracts of land on the outskirts of communities, often facilitated by local governments eager for the promise of jobs and tax revenue, Walmart constructed massive supercenters designed to be destinations in themselves. These stores, typically averaging around 178,000 square feet, often anchored new strip malls and commercial plazas, effectively creating entirely new retail ecosystems outside traditional downtowns. This drew shoppers and subsequent development away from established main streets, accelerating their decline. For instance, in many suburban and rural areas, a new Walmart supercenter on a highway frontage road would often be followed by other businesses like fast food chains or smaller retail outlets locating nearby to capture spillover traffic. This allowed Walmart to control not just the price of goods, but the very geography of American commerce. Walmart owns much of the land and stores it builds, even operating its own real estate arm, Walmart Realty. This immense power enabled Walmart to dictate not only retail prices but also the physical layout of local economies, a form of economic engineering on a national scale. Is that, for years, Walmart's property tax payments were often among the largest revenue sources for many smaller municipal governments, creating a financial dependency that further entrenched its dominance. Subscribe to Margin, and the next video is waiting for you on screen right now.